Welcome once more to London.
Thank you very much.
Um, in the last couple of days, obviously you were in London. You escorted Mr. P2B to Chatham House, and you went with him to see the Archbishop of Canterbury and also to the Stock Exchange. How has the experience so far been? You know, the visit to Chatham House. What's your impression of that visit?
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a most rewarding and fulfilling experience. Of course, we're not here on a junket. We're not tourists in London. Here for serious business of the nation. Here to bat for brand Nigeria. So it was interesting, fulfilling, because Mr. P2B, His Excellency Mr. P2B and Senator Dati Ahmed were able to tick all the boxes to achieve the set objective of being the spokespeople for Nigeria, hopefully for the next 4 years, and be able to sell brand Nigeria out of London to the rest of the world. But at the end of the day, it's about winning the next election, and hopefully what happened in London would have sort of swayed a few minds, a few undecideds the right way. And Peter looked very presidential. He spoke with confidence, spoke as good as any world leader would have done from the steps of Chatham House. So those were the positives, and I think the world sat up to listen and to hear and to see that there's a new kid on the block who's ready to take Nigeria in a different direction, out of, like he will say himself, consumption to production, and having a robust foreign policy initiative that should help us to move from aid to trade.
Okay, do you have any highlights in that, Chatham House event?
Yes, I do. I don't think I'll look at it as highlights, but I'll look at the key points the candidate, Mr. P2B, exceptional candidate, touched on. Some of them unifying Nigeria, a task that must be done. It is very important that Nigerians, very diverse people, are unified. We've had a country for so long, but not a nation. So this is time to begin nation building at last. But you cannot unify a nation without security. So security will remain number one priority for the incoming Labour Party administration by His grace if Mr. P2B wins, as we're all hoping and expecting that he wins. So, sort of getting security right should be priority, because if you don't do that, if this Northeast is still on fire, Northwest as it is, North Central being decimated, the Southeast, you know what's going on there, and everywhere else. So, he will have to have his hands full together with his team to ensure that the country is stabilized. And then you cannot begin to produce if you have insecurity. Nobody will want to come in to invest in the first place if the place is not safe. So those are things, you want to go to production, but you can't do that without security. You cannot unify Nigeria without security. You cannot attract foreign investment without security. And when it comes to foreign investment, the incoming administration, by His grace, will be looking at first and most importantly Nigerians in diaspora, because they have a lot of funds to invest in Nigeria. At the moment, sort of quite a lot of billions of dollars remitted to Nigeria every year, but mainly those funds are remitted for welfare and for consumption. We want to begin to attract the big ones for production. And the reason why it's important that Nigerians in diaspora do invest for production is not just because they have the money to do so, but because if you have foreigners investing in your country, when the chips are down, when the days, things are not going well, they'll all leave. Like we saw after 2015, they left and they divested, took all their monies out of the country, and there was a run on the naira. So if you're trying to find out why the naira is so highly devalued and at the rate it's exchanging to the dollar at the moment, that's precisely why. But if you have Nigerians in diaspora and Nigerians at home investing at home, they'll be the last to leave, because it's their country. They're not running anywhere. Even when things are not going well, they'll know and have faith that the country will recover, the economy will recover, so we'll be better for it. So that's the way to go, and not the way we've always done. I keep saying that the way to success is to do things differently.
Okay. There are people who argue that coming to Chatham House has become like a jamboree, where you see people come and talk, more or less like a talk show. They make reference to when Bola Ahmed Tinubu came, Kwankwaso, and His Excellency Peter Obi as well. And even before now, General Muhammadu Buhari and INEC chairman. Now the question is, these people on the, social media space saying Nigeria is still a colonized nation, hence those wanting to govern Nigeria come into London to speak. Do you think that there is an element of truth in what they are saying?
That's one way to look at it, but I think it will be a bit, forgive me for saying so, myopic to say it that way. We live in a highly globalized world today. What happens in one clime impacts on another. When the great leaders of the world want to make powerful statements, they often do it from outside of their geographic jurisdiction and location. You'll find the UK Prime Minister going to Washington, D.C. to announce a big initiative, because when he's there, anything he says matters, carries a lot of weight. You find the President of America, trying to see Putin or to go to China to sort of come up with something great, and then the world sits and takes notice of, and it resonates back home too. So ours is not different. We shouldn't be shy about playing at the big stage. We should not be feeling lack confidence that we cannot play on the world stage. I mean, you saw the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, not just address Chatham House, looking every inch a world leader, but the wonderful speech he gave, impromptu speech he gave, because he didn't know, I was with him, so I know that for sure, that was going to happen. He never prepared for that speech, but he was persuaded that, hey, Nigerians who couldn't get into Chatham House, and the place, his visit was, sort of oversubscribed, but quite a lot of Nigerians couldn't get into Chatham House, into the town hall, if you can call it a town hall, and they were waiting outside on the steps, outside on the streets of St. James's Square. And so he had to address them, and you saw what he came up with. That speech rivaled anything Churchill could have given.
Particular institution had become sort of our engaging the world to show what we intend to offer. And to you in particular, when we say that the government we want to do requires sacrifice of all of us, we must build a better Nigeria.
Yes.
That's the way it is today.
Yes.
Because
a productive
we want Nigeria
Yes.
where everyone and each of you will be proud to hold your green passport.
Yes.
Proud that if you have a problem, the Nigerian High Commission and Nigerian embassies will deal with it.
Yes.
A Nigerian where you are treated as a second-hand citizen in the world. We belong to this world, and we will show that Nigeria is a great country.
That is why I came to Chatham House. Yes. That is why I came to Chatham House. A town hall different from Bellevue, Lulu, and Bulaba.
Prime Minister Churchill rivaled anything Tony Blair or Cameron or Rishi Sunak, as we know him today, the Prime Minister of this great nation, Britain, can give. So we have a potential president of Nigeria who can rival these guys and outperform them. To me, it was an A+. So let us not be shy or feel inadequate enough to think that we cannot play at Chatham House. By the way, it was Muhammadu Buhari's 2014 appearance at Chatham House that was the turning point for him, that led to his win in the 2015 election. So that's a good omen. And like you've seen other candidates come, it's a great platform to sort of see all the candidates and who they are and what they say and how they appear. You know that some of them are running away from debates in Nigeria. So let's take the game to them in London if that's what it takes. And besides, every nation has its domestic policy and its foreign policy. And often the foreign policy is unveiled abroad. And we have seen that Mr. Peter will be having these meetings. and telling the world that we want to go from aid, stop giving us aid. Be our trading partners. That's what we want. Partner with us. Let us. We have quite a lot going for us in Nigeria. What you're giving us, just a minuscule of what we can do for ourselves in Nigeria. So that's the way he wants to go. And he has the support of every right-thinking Nigerian on that. So let's encourage him. And of course, we saw the Archbishop of Canterbury. It was a private meeting, so I wouldn't be sort of saying what he said privately here on this platform. But suffice it to see that he was encouraged to know that Nigeria has a youthful, forward-looking team in Mr. Peter Obi and Senator Dati Ahmed, and that Nigeria has an opportunity to recalibrate, and that that Nigeria and the next set of leaders hopefully coming in. I'm not saying that he has made a statement as to who he's supporting, and of course you wouldn't expect me to say that even if he did, but he offered prayers for Nigeria, Mr. Peter Obi and all of us in his team. He prayed for the country and wished the country well, a successful election and the post-election exercise so that Nigeria doesn't get into turmoil after
his visit. We saw on Tuesday the INEC chairman came, Professor Mahmoud, and the next day Kwankwaso came. While Kwankwaso was taking question, a question was asked about if he would be in a position to form a government with Peter Obi.